I've clicked onto the Global Tropic Overview for July the 18th or 19th in the West Pacific 2023. As is always the case in these videos, the thoughts expressed here are mine alone, and when making decisions ahead of any tropical cyclones, look towards your local weather office, local emergency management, and local tropical cyclone warning center. We have our same two systems that we're going to be talking about, but we're going to start off with Calvin here briefly. You can see the system overall is looking much better than it did yesterday. Remember, yesterday it had pretty lacking convection at all on the northern side, but now we have a sustaining deep convective burst over the northern side. Now, recon has flown around in this, and I can show you some of that recon data that we got. You can see they're estimated that pressure in the center was about 1,004, it says on here. The drops on the last one we got was about 1,004 millibars. Looks like they are trying to do another center pass, maybe try and drop another dropson in there. But on the northern side, in the convection, they found winds about 50 miles per hour. And there was pretty solid support for that. So that's pretty significant. You know, we expected maybe 40 to 45, but now 50 mile per hour winds here. And the reason that it's intensified a little bit more is because it is getting into warmer sea surface temperatures overall. As it tracks further west, it's now getting into 25 to 26 degrees Celsius waters. Alongside that, the environment is still fairly favorable for now. Now, this system overall will likely pass just south of Hawaii County. Yeah, that's here, the Big Island. It could still deviate a little bit further north and come towards the Big Island and make a landfall there. But regardless of that, all the adverse impacts are on the northern side. So wherever the center is, and again, that's going to be south of the island, that's where you're going to have all the heavy rainfall and strong winds. And especially as you get into the higher elevations of these islands, you can get enhanced rainfall, enhanced winds from the storm as well. And that can cause some adverse impacts in higher elevations. But even regardless, if you're on even the coastlines, you can still have some tropical storm force winds here. Now, as the system tracks further west, it will get into less favorable environmental conditions, and you can see on the Central Pacific Hurricane Center forecast it dissipating by Friday. It might even dissipate before then if it doesn't sustain convection for too much longer after Hawaii. If it does make a landfall in Hawaii, that could absolutely disrupt the system so much to where that's just it. It dissipates over the island just because of the higher elevation. But right now, if it stays further south, it would likely remain a tropical cyclone a little bit longer. Now you can see the tropical storm warning as well out for Hawaii County. There might be a need for one if the system deviates a little bit further north for islands north, though I know they have a wind advisory further north, so I don't know exactly how they would work that, if they would go, tropical storm warning or keep the wind advisory. But either way, advisory or warning, impacts will stay the same, heavy rainfall and strong winds coming through. Now let's go back to the West Pacific, as this is where we're going to spend the rest of the video, as we're going to talk about Invest 98W, and trying to find the center on the system looks a little bit difficult, as it is a bit elongated. But if we look at a high 2B pass that we got way earlier today, you can see a general broad circulation here. There's Palau on the map there, so you can see it centered generally northwest of Palau. And based on satellite, from what I see, it seems to still be in a similar spot. You can see some semblance of easterly winds on the northern side, perhaps trying to wrap around to northerlies. On the western side, we have some southwesterly winds on the southern side, trying to wrap around onto the southerly winds on the eastern side, giving a general idea of maybe a broad circulation generally like this, similar to that pass that we got. And if you pinpoint the center of this general elongated center, it's northwest of Palau still, and the system really has not moved too much. Now, as the system continues to move generally northward over the next several days, environmental conditions, as I've said, in the past two videos, are going to support tropical cyclone development, and that may be significant development of the system. Now, the main uncertainty right now is track. We are 6 to 7 days out from, or even more in that case, from impacts to land, whether that's from the Philippines all the way up to Japan, even South Korea. A lot of time that's good for preparedness, but for trying to get an accurate forecast for track, trying to predict something 6 to 7 days out is very difficult, and we cannot do that accurately. Now, the GFS has been one model to flip around on ideas a lot over the past couple of days. If you remember a couple of days ago, the system on the model had tracked towards South Korea and portions of China. Yesterday, the model had gone more into the European solution and went into Luzon. That was already a pretty significant spread, but now the GFS is back to having the system come north. We see on the model this ridge up north is breaking down on this model. And we start to get a break in the ridge here, and eventually the ridge is east of the system and it pushes the storm through the southern Japanese islands and up further north into South Korea. Now, the European is still on the idea of the system coming towards Luzon. You can see the strong ridge up north. This might be a little too strong. The European can tend to go a little bit strong on these ridges, but you can see that strong ridging up north, which doesn't allow it to break down as easily or as quickly, and the system tracks towards Luzon on the model. Now, the CMC is taking a general central approach between the two models. Remember, their GFS is like this, the European is like this, so it's sort of taking a middle ground here. It's having this ridge still break down, but it's having this eastern ridge still nose in westwards a little bit more, and this allows the system to track more towards Taiwan and China. So that's quite a bit of uncertainty. We have a model spread of about Luzon to mainland Japan or the southern Japanese islands. This is a significant spread, though not unexpected for something, 6 to 7 days out. Now, while we can't tell you exactly where the system's going to go, I can give a good recommendation to those in the Philippines, in Taiwan, in the southern Japanese islands, and even mainland Japan, South Korea, and even coastal China. Just pay close attention to Invest 98W as it develops. It's certainly not an imminent threat. This system is, again, 6 to 7 plus days out from really impacting any land areas significantly. So we have time to watch it, but it is important that you pay close attention to it and make sure that your Typhoon preparedness kit is ready just on the event that this system comes towards your area. It seems unlikely, given this overall pattern, that the system would get away without impacting land significantly. It looks unlikely that the system would track east or southeast of the southern Japanese islands, just based on this pattern. It looks like at some point in its track, it will likely bring land impacts to somewhere in this general region that I've just marked with my pen. To give some ensemble approach, you can see this is the GFS ensemble, so you can see that why the GFS has kind of been bouncing around over the past couple of days. The ensembles all have solutions like the European and the Canadian, and also like the parent GFS right now. The CMC is more confident on its approach, but it does have some outliers on its members. You can see more like the GFS and more like the European, and here's the European ensembles as well, showing similar tracks to the parent European, similar tracks to the Canadian, and similar tracks to the GFS. So a lot of uncertainty, and we'll have to iron these out over the next several days. But that's it for now. Again, stay safe in Hawaii. That will probably be my last update on Calvin, considering after today it's going to be moving west of the islands and impacts will be going away tomorrow. So we'll probably just focus on Invest 98W. So stay safe in Hawaii, and I'll have future uploads on, of course, Invest 98W for throughout this week and into next week as this system develops. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.